Hi there, I'm Jenny Runovich along with meteorologist Matt Standridge. We all know a major winter storm is headed our way. Really a monster storm potentially for some of our area. So wanted to kind of break down with you, Matt, what we're expecting, you know, the track, the timing, the totals. And a lot of people kind of wondering, this is a strange one because northern counties, it looks like less snow.
Right.
Southern part of Marion County and further south, more snow, right?
Seems flip-flopped.
It does.
Compared to what you would normally think. And there have been changes throughout the week too.
Okay.
That's one thing. When it comes to winter forecasting, it gets tough. And what's weird about this one is that when we're looking at temperatures, we're at 20, 21, 22. So you think, okay, we are well below freezing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Should just be snow.
Right.
Well, we have this warm air bubble kind of messing above our heads, and it's creating a lot of freezing rain and sleet chances. That's why the forecast gets a little bit wonky. And I think a lot of folks have had questions on the timing.
Yes, for sure. So we're talking tomorrow, Sunday.
Correct.
And you said morning time, potentially we're okay.
Yes.
So about what time is this going to start cranking?
We think for most of central Indiana, 9 to 10 o'clock, starting to approach probably the Indy Metro.
Okay.
If you're east towards Muncie, Newcastle, Richmond, it may not arrive until 1 p.m. So, you know, Sunday's a busy morning. It's, you know, the last weekend before we go back to school. So maybe you got church mass service plans. Maybe you're just, you know, it's your one time of the week that you get that brunch with the family, things like that.
Right. Final tailgate for a Colts game.
Final tailgate. Yeah. It's going to be snowing during
Okay.
the game. Yeah, for sure. So a lot of impactful things going on for your Sunday, and snow will be arriving. In fact, there's this map behind us.
Yeah.
This is 2 o'clock tonight. So we're all asleep. No worries. Clouds will be increasing, but the majority of the snow is still out towards St. Louis. So it's going to be a while before it actually arrives. In fact, we can look at some of the timing here. If we go to about 5, 6 a.m., you see the snow starting to cross the state line, but it doesn't really get here till about 9, 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So until 9, 10 o'clock, maybe a couple flurries. But then after 10 o'clock, I think we're going to really start ramping things up.
So I know we talked with folks with the city, DPW. They're starting to kind of pre-salt the roads tonight, and they're going to have crews, I think 70 of them on the roads. How quickly will this stuff accumulate, you think, as they're trying to get ahead of it?
Yeah, they have an awesome plan ready to go. And the good news for them is that we're not starting off with a rain or something that washes it away.
Right.
This is the scenario you'd want, but of course, this is too much snow. You can put anything down, and this is going to eventually overcome it. But for maybe the first couple of hours, we might be on the okay side because of all the treatment that we're doing.
Okay.
But eventually, I do think the snow will win, and we'll get several inches probably accumulating on the snow. And then we'll start to get to probably this little sleety mixture. That kind of really messes with some of the treatment too, this pink color that you see.
And this is like 2 p.m. on
2
Sunday.
p.m. But you see everyone in central Indiana by 2 o'clock is getting this snow. And it's probably going to be the heaviest from 2 to 3, 4 o'clock. So this is going to be a good one for us. We're going to be here all tomorrow just to kind of talk about programming. Lindsay and I will be doing constant updates all day tomorrow on our streaming channel, so you can tune in. And then you'll be busy doing all the news side because there's a lot of things that you guys got to do as well.
Sure, there could be impacts on the roads, on the airports, on a lot of folks.
Yes.
So how long is this going to last then?
Yeah, we think overall about 24 hours of snow chances.
Okay.
But there's a window Sunday afternoon to about Sunday 9 o'clock where the heaviest snow takes place. So that's about a 6-hour period of really heavy snow where we're getting, 1, maybe even up to 2 inches of snow per hour. It's really wet snow. That's the snow that you can make good snowballs with. But
that's heavy to shovel.
But it's heavy to shovel, and it's also makes it really slippery on the roads because there's a lot more water content to freeze. And so we'll have refreezing throughout the night. This one's going to be a mess. Let's go ahead and look at some of the weather maps, and we'll get to your forecast. This is a weather discussion. We're going to spend some time going through all the things. Sometimes we don't have enough time in the newscast to go through everything.
I know, it's nice to kind of break it down and dive a little deeper. But I am curious about those totals and looking at the maps themselves. So.
All right, so here we go. This is Live Look in Indianapolis. By this time tomorrow, Jenny, it is going to be covered in white. And crews, like Jenny just mentioned, about 11 o'clock, they're going to have a full force of truck drivers going out there, plow drivers and salt crews working on our roads to help us get ready as much as possible. It is cold out there right now. We're in the 20s. We'll stay in the 20s tonight, maybe in a few upper teens, especially north of Indianapolis. There's not a lot of wind out there right now, and I don't think there's a lot of wind until about 9 o'clock on Sunday. Most of the time during the heavy wet snow, you might have about 10 or 15 mile per hour wind. That's not too bad. It's after the wet snow where those winds will start to increase, and I'll show you that in a moment. But as we're wrapping up Saturday, we've had temperatures in the teens and 20s, but here are the maps. I think this is going to be pretty consistent throughout your Sunday. We've got purple, pink, and this kind of dark purple. So in this kind of bluish purple, we have the winter weather advisories. This is where the snow won't be as impactful. We'll get a few inches, but it's January. We should get a few inches. But we're going to have some low to moderate impacts, I think, north. Once you get into Kokomo and Tipton and Peru, this is where Jenny was talking about. It's kind of weird how the farther north you go, the less snow you're going to get. Farther south you go, the more snow. If you go too far south, you'll start getting into some ice. But we've got weather advisories, winter weather advisories for Purdue, for Lafayette, there towards parts of Clinton County. Once you get into Howard, Tipton counties, Blackford County, they're towards Marion, all the way almost up to Fort Wayne. Okay, now let's get to the pink. That's where the snow is going to be a little bit more intense. Plus, we'll have some sleet that we've got to deal with as well. Not so much sleet for some of these northern counties, especially for the donut of Indianapolis. So anywhere from Boone County to Hamilton County to Madison County, Delaware County, there from Muncie. Probably not too much sleet, just good snow. Good handful of inches, we think. Once we get into Indianapolis, this is where it gets real tricky. We think the snowfall total will rapidly increase. There's going to be a tight gradient is what we call it. Very big difference from a little to a lot. Just trying to figure that out is tough, but we do think it's going to be somewhere over Marion County. So the skyscrapers are going to have more possibly than, let's say, Meridian Hills or Broad Ripple or anywhere up and down, 465 there at Keystone, or headed westbound towards the Zionsville, Michigan Road area, maybe Traders Point. Once you get south of Indy, get south of Lucas Oil, get south of 465, you start entering Southport, Greenwood, Franklin, Edinburgh, even all the way south to Bloomington, we're going to get a lot of snow. We think we're at least getting 6, 7, 8, 9 inches. There could be a few of us that get even a little bit more than that. Wouldn't be surprised if some of us around Bloomington or Brown County, Columbus, we're talking about up to about a foot in a couple locations. That's the winter storm warning, most impactful snow. That goes from the northern suburbs of Indy and then also Muncie and Randolph County, south through Richmond, Bloomington, Columbus, all the way south to about Evansville. Then you get to this kind of darker purple, kind of a Barney purple. That's where we're talking about an ice storm warning. That's where the ice is going to be a lot thicker. You do see some of the snow starting to get close to the Mississippi River. Doesn't look like a lot now, but as Gulf moisture moves in, you can finally see some, light rain showers coming in from Louisiana. All these clouds, all the southerly winds are trying to beef the storm up, bring the moisture in, tapping into the cold air that's already here. And look, you've got winter weather alerts stretching from the Rockies all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. And that pink color is where we think it's going to be the most intense. So the snow plumes, the snow bands are going to strengthen, and they'll come right over us. We think the low itself is going to track right over parts of southern Kentucky. We'll be on the north side of the low, which is the snowiest side of the low. So let's talk about this snowstorm. What are the impacts that we're thinking about? Well, first, timing is a big deal. What you got going on Sunday? Well, generally Sunday mid-morning to Monday mid-morning is when it's going to be snowy and kind of icy out there at times. But the heaviest snow, that thick, heavy, wet snow, we think Sunday afternoon up to about 4 o'clock. That's where we think the highest snowfall rates may possibly be. Maybe 1 to 2 inches per hour. It's going to be a heavy, wet snow at first. That's the snow that compacts really well too. So sometimes if you get too much, let's say you get a quick 5 or 6 inches, it may compact a little bit over time, just the weight of it, because there's a lot of water in it. So it may go down maybe 5 or 5.5. So that also messes with our snowfall totals. There's a lot of factors that go into this. Overall snowfall totals, we think will be 2 to 10 inches. That's a huge range. We cover a big area here in central Indiana. Northern Indiana, flurries to a quick inch or so. But we think once you get to Marion, parts of Kokomo, Peru, maybe 2 inches or so, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, about 2 inches. But then once you get south of Indianapolis, that's where we're talking about maybe up to about 10 inches, maybe even a little bit more. We would not be surprised if we got a couple reports there by, about, let's say, 11, 12 inches. Would not be surprised. We got a little plus. I'll show you the map here in a moment. Roads are going to be covered, even though they're doing a great job getting all this treatment out. At some point, Mother Nature wins. The roads are going to be covered. They're going to be really slushy. And then they'll be trying to refreeze over time because it's really, really cold throughout the day. When tire tracks hit them, they try to melt, but then they try to refreeze. So it kind of goes, it's back and forth. So that creates a big mess. Then on top of that, the wind threat is actively growing. A couple days ago, it looked like we could get some wind gusts of about 20, 25 miles per hour or so. Now we're thinking it could increase up to about 40 miles per hour, maybe even a little bit windier in a couple spots very briefly. Now we're talking about a different threat. We've got blowing and drifting snow that could take place after sunset, much of Sunday night. Even though the heaviest will have stopped, we may still get a lot of snow showers, a drier snow, but it's going to be blowing sideways because of all the wind. We're talking about drifts, some blowing snow. Possibly at times when you're in a snow band with the wind, you're going to have near whiteout conditions and maybe even kind of near blizzard conditions. To get a blizzard warning, the National Weather Service has to at least expect 3 hours of a 4th mile visibility or lower of blowing snow. Doesn't necessarily mean the snow is heavy or you're accumulating a lot. It's really a wind factor and a visibility factor. That could take place Sunday night. Blizzard warnings aren't usually issued more than 18 hours out, so we don't have anything like that, but don't be surprised if a couple of us, especially I think in western Indiana, get a blizzard warning temporarily. But right now we got winter storm warnings. Here's 6 o'clock in the morning. I think we're still dry. If you're headed to an early service on Sunday or very early breakfast, you're going to be fine. Maybe you're doing a one last stop at the grocery store. I tell you what, grocery stores have been crazy the past couple of days. Hopefully you've gotten all the supplies that you need. Now let's push it forward. Let's go about 9, 10 o'clock. By then, some light snow will start to move in. You see it start to come into Indianapolis, Shelbyville, Lafayette. For places like Brazil and Greencastle, Crawfordsville, Terre Haute, even from Ellettsville and Bloomington and then west, we may start arriving, 8, 9, 10 o'clock or so, but really about 10, 11 o'clock it starts to come in really to central Indiana. We'll still wait for it in Newcastle and Centerville and Richmond, Brookville Lake, Connorsville, Winchester, up towards Muncie and Jay County. See more arriving about 1 o'clock or so, give or take kind of an hour on some of these. But by 1, 2 o'clock, most of the snow is here and it will be actively getting heavier as the heart of the system starts to arrive. The outer edges might be kind of light, but then it really picks up. Here's 3 o'clock. The blue color, the darker blue color shows you that really heavy snow. The lighter color showing you the lighter snow. And I think it is going to be the lighter the farther north you go. That's why our snowfall totals are a little bit lower. I'll show you those in just a moment. Heavier as you head south. That if you head even farther south, where the precipitation is really heavy, you may be switching at times between heavy snow and sleet. That's what this purple color is showing you, this wintry mix. Sleet does not accumulate very well. And so when you're trying to come up with accumulation, if you get a couple hours of sleet, that kind of cuts down your snowfall totals, almost pauses them. Sleet is kind of like a sand. It's very granular. So when you put it down, it kind of fills in all the nooks and crannies rather than just stacking it up like snowflakes do. A lot of times you've seen snowflakes, the big ones, there can be little air pockets in between as it's trying to accumulate before it packs down. So sleet kind of cuts down your snowfall totals. We think we'll probably cut the sleet off south of I-70. That's also where we think the heaviest snow will be. That's just generally the heaviest precipitation will be from Indy to the south, right towards Seymour, Bedford, Columbus, Shelbyville, and Greenwood, and Edinburgh. Now we get to 9, 10 o'clock. The heavy wet snow is out. The low is probably towards Lexington. Now we get to the backside of the system. This snow will not be as wet anymore. The snow ratio, how wet it is, how dry it is, changes over time. By midnight, Monday morning, and headed deeper into Monday morning, we'll get drier snow, some drier sleet. It's going to be on the lighter side, but the problem is the wind. Starting around 9 o'clock, going through the overnight hours, we could have wind gusts above 35 miles per hour. We won't be surprised if we get some wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So the heavy snow is already sitting there, and then you're getting this kind of drier, dusty snow on top, but it's going to be whipping and blowing all over the place. We're likely to get some blowing snow and some drifts. Indianapolis, they had a press conference earlier today. You can check that out on WTHR Plus as well on our website. But they were talking about how, depending on the streets and how the wind's kind of funneling down these streets, some streets may kind of clear off a little bit naturally and then some pile back up, even after crews have gone on through. You may notice the same thing in your neighborhood or maybe even on the interstate at times. Some of those snow drifts will start to try to move back in. So blowing and drifting snow possibly early into Monday morning. And there may also just be kind of whiteout conditions at times. The snow may not be necessarily very heavy compared to what it was, but you still may lower visibility because the wind's so strong it's blowing the snowflakes sideways, so it makes the visibility tougher for you to see. Here's Monday at noon. Heavy stuff is out of here, but we'll still have some snow showers. They may still be at a consistent rate there from Richmond to Brookville Lake, Connorsville, headed south to Greensburg, and then all the way to Cincinnati and Batesville and Oldenburg. But once you get to Indianapolis and folks out towards the west, it will really try to wrap up and then the snow will be done. I mean, there could be flurries later in the day, especially enhanced by Lake Michigan, so we'll watch out for that. So we're getting closer to the snowfall totals. I promise we'll get there. But first, we've got to talk about ice, sleet, and then the snow and how they kind of all interact with each other. Here's the ice. It is going to get thick. Now, we're using an ice accretion model. That's not necessarily how much freezing rain falls, but how much do we think it falls and then freezes? It's actually a different thing. How much freezes? Could be a ½ inch. That's why we've got ice storm warnings in Kentucky, and I won't be surprised if the ice storm warnings get pushed farther north into southern Indiana. Closer to Indy and Bloomington, Columbus, there could be up to a 1/10 of an inch. Now, if you briefly transition over to some freezing rain, that'll also cut down on your snowfall totals just a little bit. But it also may create a base of a little bit of ice and then add snow on top. You know, that's a mess. So we could have some of that. That's going to be south of I-70 and really south of Bloomington and south of Columbus. That's the freezing rain threat. Southern Indiana, a lot of Kentucky. Ice threat is a big deal. Power outages will also be a big deal farther to the south, although we do have a low threat for power outages here at home too. Now we'll get to sleet. Sleet's kind of one of those weird ones. It's more kind of ice pellety, snow pellety, and they're really hard and they're usually kind of opaque, kind of a mini ice cube or so. What happens with sleet is it's snowing above. You've got a warm air pocket about at 2,000 feet above our heads. The snowflakes melt, and then because it's cold here, they refreeze. So the snowflake's going through a lot. The sleet factor will be southern and parts of central Indiana. Depending on where you've been looking for information, you may see some sky-high snowfall totals. And could they pan out? Possibly. We think the sleet will kind of cut down on some of those snowfall totals just a little bit. We're still getting a lot of snow. But the sleet will probably add up. You see that kind of in this peachy color from Shelbyville south to Bedford, Greensburg, Seymour. The Owls will be getting a lot of sleet as well. So let's add up all this stuff together. We've got heavy wet snow and sleet covering the roads. Gets colder at night. That could cause more refreezing. And just the fact that the winds are blowing so hard, that could cause a lot of problems too. Now let's get to that snowfall map. I'm going to kind of get off screen for a second. We're going to zoom out for just a touch. Kind of covering most of Indiana in this way. Here's our snowfall map. Granted, we may update this. We'll probably update this over time. New data comes in, we digest it, and the whole weather team's been talking together. In fact, I was calculating earlier just because I was curious, we have over 130 hours of forecast experience on our weather team, and we are constantly talking. We don't just look at one model and post that out. We constantly look at everything. There are some data points that are less the amounts that we're actually showing. There are a lot of data points that are a lot higher. We take things, we use a kind of a lens of experience to get you this map. Here's what we are thinking, although we could get more. We're thinking there's going to be a sharp cutoff. That's one of the biggest, wonkiest factors to the whole thing. We think that cutoff, the heavy cutoff, will be somewhere near Kokomo, towards Elwood, Lafayette, maybe in Muncie, where you go 30 miles and there's a couple inch difference. That's what makes it tough. Northern Indiana's not going to get much. They'll get flurries. We'll get super light stuff, I think, for Peru and Marion. Maybe closer to 3-4 inches for some of us, just north of Muncie, Kokomo. And then we really ramp up the totals because we think the snow will be heavier. Those snowfall rates will be heavier. There'll be more moisture in the clouds to create more snow. Once you get to Noblesville and then Westfield and Lebanon, Zionsville. Once we get there, then we start getting in this pink color, 4 to 7. We may start at 4, kind of on the edge, but I think we'll quickly ramp up to maybe 7. We're thinking right now, much of Marion County, 5, 6, 7, 8 inches could definitely be possible. Probably should put a little plus here for the 7. That will be very possible kind of up and down the I-70 corridor. But there's going to be a big difference from, let's say, Lucas Oil to Carmel. Not a big driving distance, or as the crow flies, may take you a second with traffic on a normal day. But there could be a big spread in the snowfall totals. Once you hit 465, you hit Southport, you hit Greenwood coming into Franklin, you hit even farther to the south and west, there towards Monrovia, Mooresville. That's where we hit the 7-inch mark, and we think we're pretty confident that we're going to get 7 to 10 inches or more. There'll be several folks. I think there's going to be multiple reports of 11 or 12 inches in this dark purple zone. Where exactly are they? We're not sure. What we've kind of done too is we think as the low pressure finally starts to kind of curve just a little bit, that may increase the time for snow in parts of southeastern Indiana. Notice how the purple kind of expands just a little bit. That's why we're doing that. We kind of made it just a little bit bigger. We could get some bigger totals there towards Greensburg, Oldenburg, Batesville, and then south end of Brookville Lake. Connorsville, we're right on the edge. You Spartans, we'll be talking about probably 7, 8 inches or so. Same thing for Shelbyville, New Powell, we're in that zone too. But IU, we've got a good chance for, up to about a foot or so. But then the question becomes the wind. What are you going to see when you wake up Monday morning? That's what a lot of folks just want to know. What am I going to wake up to Monday? Because I know it's snowing all Sunday, and then I go to bed and I wake up, okay, you look out the window how much came. This is our best guess right now. We'll update it. Lindsay will have another update tomorrow morning, and then Sean and I will be in tomorrow just looking at all the data, monitoring, and let you know what's happening, and we may adjust over time, but then we may just be in nowcasting mode. We're just showing you where the snow is, what the road's doing here, what are the roads doing there, how much you got, things like that. But the high winds will create snow drifts. Sometimes snow drifts can easily be, 50%, 70% higher than the actual snowfall total. So let's play this out. Let's say we get a good 5 inches in Newcastle for the Trojans. You get some snow drifts. You can easily have some snow drifts of 8 or 9 inches if you can blow that wind. And we've got some 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts on the way. So drifts are going to make things tough. It may even move some of the snow. Maybe you got technically 5 inches, but then where you look at it dropped to 3 inches. The wind drifts are going to make things very tricky. It's not windy during the heavy snow. It's the extra dry snow that comes on top. So it kind of makes this forecast wonky. We have a couple different types of snow. The snow ratio will be changing throughout the day, Sunday and into Sunday night, and eventually Monday morning. So I meant to show this after. I switched things around just a little bit. When we're talking about what we're expecting, we think roads are going to be covered in snow. You're going to have a lot of icy roads too, a lot of the bridges. NDOT, one of their first concerns tonight will be the salt treatment of the bridges first. They've got over 70 crews going out starting at 11 o'clock is their plan, and they'll have even more tomorrow. But heavy wet snow sleet will cover the roads. Of course, it's going to cover the grass and your sidewalk and your driveway really easily. We're staying below freezing the whole time during this system, but depending on where there's traffic, you get the tires to heat up the roads, and there could be some temporary melting, some slush. Once traffic dies back down, depending on how many people head out on the roads, that's kind of hard to say. At least it's a Sunday and not maybe Monday or Tuesday with rush hour necessarily. But as crews get off the roads or folks get off the roads, there's going to be more refreezing because we're going to head down to some single digits and teens, I think Monday night, or Sunday night and Monday night. So we've got really cold air on the way. That's going to be constantly a battle we're fighting. It's also going to lock in the snow. There's some times, you guys know, in Indiana where we've got a big snow. I remember as a kid all the time. It got real cold afterwards. Maybe you got 5 inches and you could just kind of walk on it. You barely even get your snow prints, because it got so cold, it locked everything in. I think that could take place, especially on Monday and Tuesday as that cold air just keeps on building for us. But the snow drifts are going to make forecasting tough. What you see out your window, everyone's going to get something different. That is key. Everyone gets something different, but our snow zones, hopefully they kind of give you at least a guidance of where we're headed. We're not 100% sure. You can't be in weather, especially here in Indiana, but it's our best guess. Here's a look at our wind forecast. Sunday evening and night, check out some of these wind gusts coming out of the northeast. 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts, you see that estimated there for Shelbyville, 46 in Greencastle. It is going to get breezy, and with the snow shower still in place, there could be near blizzard conditions at times. There may even continue to be some of that wind Monday morning. Here's 5 o'clock. It's going to be a very windy night, Sunday night and a Monday. And with the wind too, and if you get heavy wet snow on some of the power lines, we may have some more power outages. Make sure things are charged and ready to go. Make sure your vehicle is all gassed up. Make sure you got emergency supplies. We've been through this before. We'll be through it again. This isn't the mother of all winter storms, but we haven't had a system like this in about 3 years. It's been a hot second before we've had at least a 6-incher coming in towards Indianapolis. Wind will continue Monday morning. Monday afternoon, a lot of this does start to die down when we start to take a break. Then we get cold. This is why the snow is not melting for a while. I mean, it will gradually melt a little bit, but it won't melt a lot because look at where we're going. We've got temperatures in the teens for highs on Wednesday. Wind chills will be below 0. The actual air temperatures will be flirting with 0. Some of us north of Indy will be in the negative territory. But the snow takes place for your Sunday, Monday morning, wrap things up. We are not quite ready to get there yet, but on Friday, there looks to be another system developing in the plains, coming at us with more snow, possibly a shoveler, possibly a few more inches on the way. So we'll get to forecasting that once we get this one out of the way, because once we get this one out of the way, we'll have a better idea on the cold air pocket. which will help drive where low pressures go. So it's kind of a domino effect. We'll eventually get to your Friday forecast here in a little bit. But weather impact alert day is going to be red for your Sunday and Monday as heavy snow is on the way. Stick with your weather team. We're going to have several updates throughout the day, Sunday and Monday. Also visit WTHR.com, go to the weather part, and then hit the blog. We've got a blog we're constantly updating as a whole weather team. The latest information can be found there. A lot of new maps, a lot of new text on there, so make sure you go through that. We appreciate your time. We'll have more updates the next 36 hours or so. This one's going to be a doozy for us as snow is coming in and sleet right here to central Indiana. Make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.